Hello everyone and welcome back to another Universe Sandbox video, and today we're going to be creating a whole new solar system from the remains of our own solar system. But before we get started, guys, if you haven't already, make sure to press that subscribe button. Helps on the journey to 30,000 subscribers before midway through January into February. So if you have already, a massive thank you to you. Really appreciate all the support. But anyways, let's rock and roll today's video. So what we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to create a new solar system from the remnants of our own solar system. So first of all, the sun, this is going to become a white dwarf. So I'm going to immediately replace this with our white dwarf object. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Looking good. There's white dwarf there. Okay, and then Mercury. Basically, the whole inner solar system's gone. The sun's death will completely wipe all this out. So everything up to Jupiter will be gone. So we're going to just manually remove all those. So there's our white dwarf. So that's where our system stands at the moment. So looking good. And then we're going to have a new star. So I'm actually going to use Alpha Centauri B for this. So we're going to have a new star form on the edges of the solar system over here. So I'm going to place that sort of... Ooh, where do I think? Let's place it here, 66 AU away. So we're going to have a new star magically formed from the remnants of our own solar system over here. And then this is going to have all of these remaining asteroids. Or I say remaining asteroids. We're going to have a whole new set of asteroids and material form around this star. And that's where our new planets will form. So for instance, I'm going to go and... I mean, we could use a normal asteroid belt, actually. Just place that in there. So there we go. So we've got a bit of a disc. Actually, no, never mind. No, I want it even closer. So we're going to go down to about, I don't know, 4 radius. There you go. Hang on, this is a new star. We want this to be... I'm going to double. Just straight up double that. There you go. So there's a nice sort of disc of material that will start around this planet. But remember, we still have the old solar system's remnants to work with as well here. So... how are these going to sort of merge together? That is the question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to immediately just... I don't know if I want it a little closer, actually. Kind of at our new disk to sort of span where the Kuiper belt would have once laid. So I'm going to have it there. And now what I need to do is we need to go to Tools, open up the menu, press Auto Orbit. Okay, yeah, Auto Orbit. Okay, and then I'm simply slow down time. We're going to press play and we're going to see how this unfolds. And I think to make things more interesting, I'm going to have Uranus... I'll just move there. I want to see... and then maybe Neptune as well. Maybe these become the closest planets to the new star. So we're kind of the other way around. Something like that. Again, just to make sure... and yeah, just press play. Okay, so auto. So how... aha. Okay. Interesting. Alrighty. And then I just want to make sure... so these... auto orbit, yeah. And same with... oh, see, they're still looking onto the old white dwarf there. So maybe the white dwarf... maybe it needs to lose a lot of that mass. So maybe it needs to halve that. Yeah, okay, that'll be better. Slow it down a bit. Just so it's not cool, it has a massive pull on the planets, because we don't want it really having a big pull. Ooh, no, see, that's a problem there. So back to a start. Okay. Okay, let's see. Ooh. Is it warming up? I want it to be still warm, of course. So... okay, so something like that. So it's still... it's a lot dimmer. Let's keep playing the auto wicks. It's going to be a little tricky just to get this white dwarf to play to what we want it to do. So... Jupiter and the white dwarf are still there. Then we still have... see, that's so... so let's just let the simulation run for a bit. I want to see sort of how this plays. So, there you go. Okay. So maybe if the white dwarf sort of drifts out a bit, just to break away from the Jupiter. Just to sort of make this work. So, there we go. That white dwarf is causing a bit of a tricky... being a bit of a pest, isn't it? So maybe the white dwarf drifts out. Maybe it takes Jupiter with it. As that was the closest remaining planet to the Sun. So maybe they sit in a bound binary orbit out there and everyone else just sort of orbits around the new star. So something like that. There we go. So it makes sense that Jupiter and the white dwarf kind of stick with each other as they are the closest two objects. So that's the remains of the Sun over there. So maybe they leave the system entirely. We'll have to wait and see there. But in the meantime, we now have a new system currently forming with the old planets taking like a sidestep here. So maybe as the material is here, maybe the system shrinks down a bit. So let's try just to slowly crack in there. Okay, so how far away is this from the... So this is now the closest planet to our new star. And actually what I'm going to do is, speaking of the star, we're going to name it Sol 2. As it is the successor to the Sun. It formed from the Remnants. So there we are. Now, I kind of want one of the old gas giants to sort of be in there. So Neptune is in conveniently closest object. So I'm going to have that sort of migrate inwards in the new planetary disk. Same with Uranus. We're going to have those sort of migrate down a bit. Then obviously Saturn in the further reaches. They're the large planets. They're going to pick up the sort of bigger sort of material. So I'm going to have those sort of migrate in. I'm going to keep all this out here. Maybe some of the older objects as well. Maybe they'll cut down. There's Sedna with that new texture it comes with. That does look really cool. I do like that. But again, I'm going to sort of halve all of these guys' orbits down. So they've kind of, yeah, they've kind of just been fully picked up by the new star here at this point. So let's move all these down a bit. Maybe that one a little closer. Have a little closer. There's Hermea. Again, have you sort of migrated down. And then all the ones with just random names, I will just remove those because they're just extra space. Let's just get rid of all that. There you go. And then this is what we end up with now. So all of the old objects have kind of all been swapped around a bit. And I think Saturn actually should still be further out because it was a lot closer to the original Sun than all of these. So only the Kuiper Belt objects and Uranus pretty much are the only things that have moved in. And then even Uranus is still a little further out. But yeah, Neptune and all the dwarf planets, in theory, they should be the closest to where the new star's point is. So Pluto and all of those nearby surrounding objects should be, in theory, closer. So we'll have those on some elongated orbits as well, just to keep it a little interesting. Sedna, you're still pretty far up. I'm going to have you on this side, because, I mean, Sedna's orbit was always quite a big one, so Sedna would still be fairly far out from where our new star was placed. Iris will have you on a sort of elongated orbit, possibly as well, hopping in that inner sort of system there, so try and keep you somewhere in the loop, around there maybe. Just try and keep it up there. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so this is what we've got. Now, we have some new planets forming here, so remember, this is a lot of years in the future here, so this will be a slow process, but we're going to have some new objects form in here, and we're going to sort of see how they end up. So how do we want this to form? So maybe we have one new gas giant, or maybe no, we have two new gas giants. We have one there and one a little closer. Because remember, this isn't going to form the same way as our own solar system. We are going to have some different bits in here. So let's press play. Let it run for a bit as well. And then a lot of random rocky planets. Let's go with random Rockies. Yep. Have quite a lot of them forming that 1AU, 2AU mark in there. Maybe we could go with some customs as well. Have maybe one or two. I mean, we usually have an Enixus object in one of these. So maybe we could do that. Let's have one with like a greenish, toxic looking design. I'll place one of those in there. Maybe just a few more cool customs in here as well. Maybe have a gas dwarf thrown in there for the extra as well. Okay. Yeah, alright, okay, I'm going to go with one of these other templates as well. No, I'm going to leave it alone. So, okay, so this is what we've got now. So we've got new planets formed in the remnants of where the old system was in here. Now remember, this is just a bit of fantasy. We're not really taking much realistic stuff into account, so please keep that in mind. But here we are. So, I mean, I think like we need some more objects closer as well. So let's have some a little closer in there as well. Let's throw a few random faces in there. Maybe some smaller objects at the closer points as well. So there we go. So like that. So looking good. Right. Okay. So how's this all looking? So how bright is our star actually? So let's just have a look. So that's where the inner solar system would be. This in theory is Alpha Centauri B, remember? So it's not as bright as the sun originally was. So it's only 0.5 A or low luminosity here. So it's halved from the sun we know. So where's about 1 AU distance? So okay, that's over 1 AU actually, this object here. Okay. So I kind of want this to be in that range. So where are we? Let's have it actually move in a bit. Have it in that green. Somewhere here. Yeah. Alright, okay. Cool. And actually, speaking of the planets as well, the old planets from the old star system, they're going to have a few changes themselves. They've been through a lot. They've been through the nova. Let's say they have a few visual changes. So Neptune, for instance. How about we have a few sort of new bits of colour emerging on Neptune? Maybe it picked up a lot of hydrogen from the original sun's detonation. So maybe it picks up some new sort of paler colours. Maybe it gets some new sort of regular gas giant sort of colours sort of mixed into Neptune's mix a bit. So Oh, I don't know. Is this kind of ruining the old Neptune? Oh, I don't know. I mean, we could lower some of the bands down just to make it look a little less crazy. So there you go. So yeah, Neptune has had some quite big changes since the sun's death. So here we go. So that now leaves us with this. And let's say some of its colours have been distorted or changed slightly. So maybe there's a few more, and maybe not yellows, but maybe just some paler blues have emerged on the poles of Neptune. Just a few sort of mixes of some different colours in there. Just new material it's picked up and it's mixed around in its atmosphere and clouds. So just sort of subtle little changes. Maybe the North Pole's been affected quite a lot. Maybe it has a new sort of new mix at the top there, sort of mixing in. So yeah, okay, I'm quite liking that actually. And then just get the colour right. Just a very pale sort of regular gas giant sort of shade there. Maybe some of the colours of some of the blue has sort of changed as well. Some of the blues have slowly shifted shades a bit as the methane on Neptune slightly changed a bit. But again, I want the colours to be quite bland. I don't want it being just a ridiculous overkill change of colour. I want it to sort of look like it has been sort of almost contaminated by new material it's picked up, losing its original nice blue colour. So there we go. So Neptune has had some evolution over time. Oh god, that's too much. Oh, just a white band, some kind, maybe a lighter blue, something like that. So it's still got its original blue as the dominant colour, but it's picked up a lot of new gases and bits that are flying around Neptune now. So, okay, that's the South Pole. So we'll keep that as its original sort of bluer shade then. This yellow band I'm not too keen on. I want that gone a bit. Well, we can dim it down, really. I mean, we'll keep it as there's the original sort of Neptune sort of blue shade. So, in there. Maybe we just have it as a paler shade of blue. There you are. Still looking a bit contaminated though from the original Neptune, but you know it still has its original sort of colour and appearance, but you know there's still a few mixes in there. The North Pole has been affected a lot more. I'm quite liking the way this system's coming out so far, actually, just the way what we're doing to this. So yeah, I will actually modify all the gas giants as well. I do want them all sort of contaminated, or the sun's evolution, you know, the temperature changes they would have experienced in the red giant sun, maybe that's changed them for permanently to a new sort of look of some kind. So there we go. Still not too convinced on that lighter band at the bottom, unless we just sort of fade all the colours a bit just to sort of merge in a little better. Maybe we have a few more lighter colours sort of in the middle, just to sort of really showing the changes on Neptune. There you go, maybe something like that, just a little band in there. Ooh. These lighter blue shades I'm not a fan of. I want them gone. They need to go back to the traditional Neptune blue. So something like that. And then maybe the paler yellow colours, maybe they just stay at the poles. Maybe it all congregates at the poles. So something like there. And then the pole itself. I mean, again, keep it in the original Neptune sort of shade, but you know it still had some contamination almost with some new material it's kind of picked up from the planetary disk around the new star. So that's Neptune in an evolved sort of form there, if you like. So what do you think of that? I mean, I don't know, this greener shade, I don't know, I'm not keen on that. Oh, no. Still got to have the original blue, but sort of faded in there. Okay, so how's that looking? So yeah, there's the band I wanted to change. So there you are. Okay, then maybe fade that down a bit. So there we go. So Neptune, a slightly contaminated new Neptune there. Some new colours sort of mixed in that South Pole. Ooh, no way. Put that back to where it was originally, somewhere down there. But yeah, we've completely ruined Neptune from its original appearance. But you know, evolution, change has happened in the time it has. Yeah, there's been a lot of time between the present day and now, so, you know, things will be bound to look slightly different. Uranus, again, same principle with you. I mean, Uranus is a lot more bland anyway, but I'm sure we can make some sort of unique look to it. So, again, Uranus, I mean, we don't need all those bands, because Uranus is all just pretty much the same colour anyway. So we'll keep it with about 5 bands, maybe. So let's go all the way down. So we want to keep Uranus roughly its bland, original sort of shade. So there we go. And then sort of put it to its... I mean, Uranus is all normally going to be this sort of colour anyway, so just that proper bland shade it normally has. So there we go. So that's what Uranus would roughly be nowadays. So there we go. But maybe it has a slight... maybe Uranus has a slight sort of colour shift as well. You know, some regular gas giant, more hydrogen it's picked up in the north and south. Maybe they sort of blend in there. Remember, Uranus is tilted on its side, so it still has a very interesting sort of appearance. Maybe it has a whiter sort of mix. Maybe Uranus has just been a little more tainted with just even blander colours than it already was. So very, very faint, bland tints to it. And then the original blue it may have once had has almost completely been eradicated, as it has taken on a new helm, a new appearance. But yeah, we'll still keep some of the original blue in there, so something like that maybe. Keep it a little more. There you go. So what do you think of that for a new modified Uranus? So it's still well, those north and south poles are a little too overkill. Let's have them sort of more fainter. I still want to have that sort of deserty looking colour to it, so just very, very faint colours though. Very, very, very faint. So just so it blends in quite nicely, but something like that maybe. Still looks like Uranus on paper, but I mean, let's just bland those colours out a bit. Maybe it has a more grayer look to it. Maybe some of that's been distorted as well. Maybe some of the blues have gone to a darker sort of paler, darker bluish shade. Maybe in Uranus's. Maybe we keep the original blue in the north and south and just have like more distorted colours across. So yeah, keep that as the light pale blue, as we know, and yeah, have the sort of these colours as a more sort of darkened out tone. So yeah, Uranus has lost a bit of colour to it as well, and it's got more of a grey look to it in a way now. And then you end up with something like that. So yeah, Uranus, also a planet that's seen some change since the red giant sun's detonation. So there we are. Yeah, okay, I'm quite liking it. It looks a little, a little more unique. A little change to Uranus, subtle changes. Keep its original blue trail. And then Saturn, again, same principle with you. Saturn's a different one because Saturn's also quite a bland object. But again, I'm just going to lower these bands down, so I don't want too many on Saturn. So again, just subtle changes that Saturn may have experienced in the long time. So maybe we'll keep more colours on Saturn here. But maybe it just, again, maybe just some of the colours have been just more paleized. More new materials being mixed in a bit. So maybe some of the colours, maybe some of them get a little deeper in shade. Just to really sort of show it. Over time, new bits have been mixed in with Saturn's overall composition. Also, it could have picked up material from the gas giant sun. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. So there you go. So a new sort of appearance of Saturn as well. Sort of mix added in there. There you go. A bit more of that yellowy shade in there as well. There you are. What do you think of that? Not looking too shabby. I'm quite happy with that actually. I do quite like the way that's come out. Yeah, what do you think of that? Oh, no, that band's a little too much for me, actually. That green, I don't like that green. And this is still a little too yellow for me. Let's have that more fade into the orange shades there. But yeah, overall, yeah, quite liking the way that's the way that's turned out, actually. One of those bands still looks a little too limey green for me. Let's just have a little, yeah, think of that. Ooh, no, that white band at the top's a bit of a killer for me. I don't like it. Dim it down. Maybe have that as a darker shade of orange. There you go. And then Saturn's got a new sort of mix of material in there. So still similar but different. And then lastly, Jupiter, all the way over here. This is the one that would have been the closest to the sun. So maybe the Jupiter had the most changes in action there. But I mean, it's in pitch black anyway, so we'll have to go by the image here. But maybe again, Jupiter just had some more paler colours added into its mix as a few changes have gone down. So there it is there. So again, we're just going to modify some of the colours it already has. We're not going to change the colours. For instance, we're just going to change the brightness of some of them, just to sort of have a few bits of change added in there. So there you go. To show Jupiter's had obviously some changes as well over time. So there we go. So we haven't even got onto the new planets yet. We're still just customising the old planets. So there's a lot to come here. So maybe we'll have to make this into 2 parts. But yeah, there we go. And then obviously we can have some of your suggestions hopefully inputted in as well. There we go. So Jupiter again, it's looking slightly evolved from its original form. Some of the colours have mixed around a bit more, changed up. Maybe I will modify some actually. That redder shade's looking pretty menacing. go. Maybe I'll have the two sort of big bands near the red spots slightly modified in colour, so maybe... Ooh, this could be interesting. Actually, no, I quite like the darker red, actually. Yeah, what do you think of that? So, Jupiter, we may... I mean, some of you may say I've ruined it, but, you know, I'm kind of liking the way it's... it just shows sort of evolution. Maybe we won't have it too much, actually. No, I do want to keep it still similar to the regular, but you know, just subtle changes, so it's still recognizable as Jupiter, but yeah, just a few of the colors have changed over time, as it's obviously seen a lot at this point. So there we are. This red's maybe a little too much for my liking as well. Maybe let's pale that down a bit. That's the color I was looking for. There we go. There you go. So again, a slightly evolved Jupiter. So if we just look at the lineup now, I mean, they're still recognisable as their original selves. I mean, there's a new gas giant that's formed in the Remnants as well. But you know, Uranus and Neptune, I mean, they still look like the way they did, but just a little different than the new gas giant. So actually, let's go ahead and see our new gas giant. So this is where it sits now. So it's actually, where's our new star? So it's... Actually, where are we? Oh, yeah, it's over there. Okay, yeah, sorry, right. So... let's have this with a blend of sort of a gas and an ice giant. So let's have it sort of got the blues and the sort of yellowy, creamy colours in there. So could be an interesting sort of look to it. So there we go. Let's get that more of a paler blue. In the south, we'll have a paler blue as well. It's kind of a mix of Saturn and Uranus colours in one object. So should be pretty interesting. We'll add the band, double up the bands a bit. Just have sort of, yeah, Saturn and Uranus colours sort of mixed in together. Should make quite an interesting design. So let's go with the lighter shades in there as well. And this is looking pretty good. Actually, I'm liking this. So there you go. Just a quick rough build. I'm not going to go into massive detail just designing this, but you know, just something that still looks pretty unique. So there we are. Maybe the blue's the more prominent colour, but it's still got those generic sort of sandy Saturn colours in there as well. Until you end up with something like this. What do you think of that? In the north, that's still a little too much for my liking. I mean, maybe we could have some whites in there as well, you know, just to sort of change the mix a bit. This colour's a bit too green for my liking. Let's go to more of the yellow shade. Yeah, what do you think of that then? Maybe just a few more bands at the bottom just to really blend them in a bit. Yeah, just another section. Just maybe a few more bits of blue in the south as well, just to really mix it up. And then at the south itself, maybe have that still have the Saturn sort of yellow in the south. Then just modify this white band a bit to a more of the blue shade. There you are. That deeper blue needs to go. That's too much. I want it to blend nicely. The color blending is important. So actually, maybe no. I get rid of this, but I turn this blue. Or to the more blue shade, and then the band up here I'll turn this to more of the yellow sort of look. Look at the yellow, yeah. Maybe one in the middle as well. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm liking that. And then just get the colours exactly right. So there you go. So it's got like a Saturn Uranus mix of colour in there. So it's got the white and the pale yellows sort of mixed, or the pale yellow and the pale blue, I should say, actually. So let's just make them all a little more pale, just so it all blends in nicely together. So there we go. Yeah. Can I get that one, please? Yep. Cool. And then yeah, I'm happy with that. That's looking good. So that's a new gas giant that's kind of formed as well. So let's have it up ways. There you go. I quite like the way that's designed, actually. So, you know, how does it compare with its predecessor gas giants in the system? So there it is there. It's actually in between Saturn and Uranus in size. It's like a sort of mix between the two. I think it does, actually. It's looking quite good, actually. And we actually have a new gas giant that's formed. A new big gas giant. It's actually bigger than Jupiter. It's also formed in this mix-up of new objects. So here it is. So this is over here. This is a very large. I don't like the mass being as... Well, it's actually bigger in radius, but the mass isn't as much. So it's more of a puffy kind of planet. So again, with this guy... What colours do we want? I'm going to go with the more dominant orange. I'm going to go with like a Saturn-Jupiter sort of mix of colour here. So no blues. We're going to keep it all as a normal sort of gas giant sort of look here. So there we are. So it has the deeper brownier shades, you know, the more menacing looking colours. So yeah, there we are. Ooh, that's a little too orange. I want to fade that down a bit. Yeah, the white bands, I don't want those in there. So maybe have some. Maybe have the turn the yellows into like a dimmer sort of browner shades almost. Here we are. Ooh. Okay, yeah. Oh, I do quite like the dark area in the north and south actually. And then let's just fade this white out to a more deeper color. Oh yeah. Maybe a colour above it again to a deeper. Yes. And then this one just slowly try and blend that between the two colours. And there, that's looking pretty darn good actually. There we are. Let's rotate it the right way as well. Okay, cool. And then yeah, rotate. There you are. Let's get it the right way up. Cool. I'm happy with that. Let's have it rotating on a similar sort of speed to Jupiter. So orbital period. Where are we? Rotational period. Let's have it to 0.7 hours. 0.7 days. There you go. So how many hours is that? So that should put us down to roughly 16. Yep. Cool. So that'll rotate quite nicely. It's actually picking up a moon as well. Look at that. Okay. Nice. So we've got all of the gas giants sort of sorted. We've got a new dominant gas giant in there as well. Well, I say that it's still not as large as the original Jupiter, but you know, it's still got, you know, that mass in Earth's. That's still bigger than anything Saturn, Uranus, or Neptune can make. So you know, it probably is the dominant one actually, because Jupiter's too far away to really have any effect with the white dwarf. They're kind of drifting apart in a way. So there we are. Okay. How's Sender doing? Let's keep it as a traditional red. I think Sender should still have quite a eccentric kind of orbit going on, so I'm going to keep it with its original sort of well, not eccentric, sorry. Yeah, no, eccentric. Yeah, I'm going to keep it with its original sort of design there, but you know, it still had a bit of a change from changing stars. So there you go. Okay. So Saturn, there we are. Let's just make it so its colours a little brighter as well, just so we can see them a little easier. Then Uranus and Neptune, they already have their trail colours, but you know, Neptune will give it a little more of the cool blue. Alright, so onto the actual new planets now. Then we got our gas dwarf here. That's the only other sort of gas giant-y like object. It's got a very eccentric orbit already. I'm not sure, or inclined orbit. I'm going to a little further back down. There we go, but gas dwarf. So what sort of colour do we want to make this guy? So remember, it is rocky at heart, but it is still well, there's its clouds there, so how do we sort of want to have this? So maybe we have it as a more traditional sort of gas giant orange sort of shade, so looking just like a typical gas giant. And then the atmosphere. Okay, let's have a little play with this. Let's lower that so we can have the colour showing up a bit more. And then I want to fade the atmosphere down so we can actually see the clouds. So yeah, gas dwarf. It's got the atmosphere, but it's covered in clouds as well. Looking good. Yeah, I'm liking it. And then just get the atmosphere the colour we want it. So maybe have it as quite a bland sort of yellowy, gassy colour, basically. There you go. Maybe the clouds we have just slightly tinted underneath as well. So there you go. There's a gas dwarf. What do you think of that? So just nice and simple. And then if we look underneath, oh my god, what is this all about? Whoa. Atmosphere and clouds, yeah. Is that heat glow? What's causing that? Oh, that's snow. Well, a very bizarre world underneath, but there you go. If I take the clouds off, there you are. There's a gas dwarf, so cool. Right, so onto the new planets itself, actually. So here we are. Right, closest planet to the star is this object here. So I'm going to immediately just have to. I want this TARDI locked straight up. So, right, TARDI lock. There you are. Cool. It's actually losing a bit of material by the looks of it. And then surface colours, I mean, we can actually use some textures here. So, where are we? Surface. Oh, where's the surface? Oh, am I going completely mad? Appearance, visuals. No, hang on. No. Surface, vegetation, elevation. Base colour, that's it. Oh, God, I'm going mad there. Right. No, we do not want it to look like Mercury. Let's use Phobos or Deimos textures, because I mean they're ones that obviously are different. So, well, I quite like Deimos actually. That does look good. Yeah, so that's a nice little look to it. So there you go. How large is this actually? So kilometers. Oh, it's actually really small now. A little bigger than that. A little smaller than what Mercury normally. And that's more of a dwarf planet size actually. But remember, it is tidally locked, so it should start to see some action around the star here. How close is this to the star actually as well? So it's 28 days. That's quite a quick orbit. I mean, that's quicker than Mercury's orbit, so that will probably warm up over time here. So there we are. Next planet out, take a bit of a jump. So here's our next one over here. So again, a pretty... it almost reminds me of Europa. So maybe we have it as like a... It does look pretty cracked up, doesn't it? So again, but maybe again, I want some custom textures in here to really make it interesting. So maybe we use the Deimos texture or Phobos texture. There you go. So again, just a little look. But then what this one? We'll give it a slight atmosphere just to really add some uniqueness to it. So again, ATM. Let's go to nothing ridiculous like Venus, but let's go with a 3.5 ATM. So quite a thicker atmosphere going on. I'm going to put it at 2 atmosphere there. So it's going to get quite a substantial amount of brightness and heat. That's what it looks like. Honestly, these textures look really good with clouds. And then let's lower that down. Maybe a more orange. Yeah, something vague. I don't want it just looking wacky colours and too crazy. I want to go for a more realistic sort of look to the visuals on most of the objects in here. So there you go. I'm going to leave that alone. We're just going to see sort of how the temperature on that adapts to. So 82 degrees already. I'm sure we'll see some changes there. How large is this? Because I think I did put these as dwarf planets, didn't I? So again, I want this to be quite large. A little bigger than the first planet, 3,000 kilometers. Next planet out, we've got a Nixus here. So this is the only one that probably exceeds the rule of realistic looking. But I want this to be... It's not going to be an Earth-like. I want this to be a toxic sort of almost Venus-like toxic-y hot object. So 0 degrees. Right, so let's see how this sorts itself out. And then atmosphere. Where are we? So it's got... Yes, it's already got quite a lot of ATM on it. Split it to 2 layers. Now, atmosphere is on. Thin the atmosphere down. So it's going to be a toxic-y green sort of look to it. So should be interesting. Lower that down. Lower the opacity down. There you are. Snow. Let's have that as just white. Then the water we're going to have as a toxic sort of green. So yeah, not where you want to be living, really. So a very, very foul, dark green world. So this is not where you want to be. Okay, so how are we looking underneath? So underneath all of that, that's our surface. So I'm not a fan of the way that looks at all. So we need to have a change of the colours. So maybe we just go with a rocky sort of, quite a rocky looking design here. And I think this object's tinted as well. Ice and snow switch off. There you go. Heat glow, and then we'll keep that on. Vegetation. It's vegetation. Okay, now let's keep that off. So there's our oceans there. Well, I say oceans, I mean that's a little more... That's very toxic-y looking indeed. Let's settle the water. Okay. So quite a big ocean of toxic liquids. Settle water. Okay, and now the surface. Now what do we want for the surface? Maybe the rocky look doesn't suit it too well. It's got to be a darker shade, surely. Like a dark brownish, murky... It's not going to be a nice place to be, so it's not going to look friendly. That water needs to be dimmed. It's too much. That's looking better. It's more of a murky looking world there. That foul green. Okay, at high elevation. Maybe that stays blacked out. I mean, I don't know. Ooh. Have it as more of a sandy shade. Just basic rock. I mean, something like that maybe. Clouds back on. I mean, that's all hidden underneath the atmosphere anyway, but, you know, it's still a very toxic environment. So, there you go. 50 degrees. I'm going to leave it alone. Let's just sort of see what temperature it sort of goes to, really. Yeah, this is a world like none other in the old solar system before this system came into existence. This is not like... It doesn't have any matches to any of the previous planets in the inner solar system. It's no Earth, no Venus, no Mars, no Mercury. It's completely its own object. Toxic-y green. I mean, maybe its closest in similarity would be Earth because of the radius is similar to Earth and Venus, but although it has liquid on it, which is similar to Earth, that's definitely not the water you want to be swimming in, probably. So... If it even is water, that's the question. Maybe it's an unknown substance. So, there you are. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the way that's turned out, actually. I'm not keen on the surface. This all looks too red to me. It needs to be more of a brown. Maybe something more like that. Yeah. Okay, I'll leave. Okay, I'm happy with that. And then clouds back on. Can we actually change these? So we could change it from turbulent to thick. Yeah, okay, so we can change it. Okay, so if we have fluffy, then thin? Both. I want the surface to actually be visible. So 2 sets of thin clouds where we have just fluffy as well in there. Sort of mix it up a bit. Maybe that's 2 little clouds where we have wispy. Yeah, a bit wispy in there. There you are. Cool. So a very, very strange world. Sitting as the 3rd planet from the sun. Or Sol 2. Okay, next up we got Non here. Nonon. Interesting name. So, how are we looking here? Now, should we try going for a Earth-likey world as the 2nd planet? Or the 4th planet from the start? Or do we leave it alone? It's got some craters on, actually. I didn't know random textures had craters. Look at that. Interesting. Anyways, so, surface. Oh, base colour, yeah. I want to go to map. Oh no, let's actually use this Sedna texture here. I've never actually been able to use this for anything. So I'm not going to actually have it as an Earth-like world. But I do want to still play with it. So, yeah, I want this bigger. I want this to be a fairly large world. So let's split it to about 1. Oh no, I want 1.08 masses of. Okay, fine. So, let's lower the water down. I want the surface to be visible. The Sedna, it does look really cool, the Sedna texture with water added. So it's going to be sort of a mix between Mars and Earth. You know, it's not habitable enough to be an Earth, but it's not cold enough to be a Mars or anything like that. And it's still quite a large world. Or maybe we'll make it a super Earth. We're going to go up to about 2.2 mass of 8 Earth. So it's quite a good chunky object in size there. So now we just add the water back. There you go. Let's settle it down. Settle. Okay, got some patches on it. Maybe just a little more water added to it. Okay, settle. Interesting, okay. And I want an atmosphere as well, because that's probably not helping if it doesn't have an atmosphere. So let's go with just a standard 1.1 ATM. There you go. Bit of atmosphere onto it. Then just add some more water. Quite a nice increase in water there. And let's just settle it down again. There you are. Okay, that's a nice mix. See, it's not enough oceans like Earth, more oceans than what Mars has. Because obviously Mars is all frozen. So it's kind of a mix between Earth and Mars. I'm going to keep the blue atmosphere. I think that's came out quite nicely, actually. But I'm going to have some clouds. Yeah, some thick clouds. Maybe a bit of storm in there as well. Or turbulent. No, I'm going to go double turbulent. So it's still not really the perfect habitable world. But maybe it has conditions for at some point in the future. And I'm very happy with the way that's turned out, actually. You know, it looks fairly realistic looking. You know, it's got some clouds, got some surface, got some decent amount of oceans in there, got craters all over it. I'm happy with that. That looks good. Actually, I'm happy with that. That does actually look really, really good. And then interface. Let's go down to just a nice blue. Now, temperature. Where is this going to sit in the temperature gauge? Because I think it's going to be a little too far away from the star to really receive any light. How far away actually is this? Let's have a look. So it takes 6 months to orbit the star, but it just doesn't have any greenhouse by the looks of it. Albedo's very high. We're going to lower the albedo down. I don't want it being that reflective. No way. So I should hopefully give it a kick at ease. I'm hoping to have this around -10, roughly. Let's put it to 0, see where it sits. So it's getting cold. -30. If it sits around -13, that's cool with me. Oh, still a little... Ooh, I do like the snow spin added. No, it's still getting a little too cold. Maybe just a little more... Can we get a little more infrared out of it? Can we go to maybe 1.1? Can you do 1.1? I don't know if that really works. So it's warming up a bit. Okay, let's see where that sort of ends up. So, -10. Ooh, let's see if it just stays in between -10 and 0. I'm perfectly happy with that. Okay. Yeah, okay, perfect. That is exactly where I want it. So, we're not going to have a full-on habitable world in here. This is the closest you're going to get. So it's a potential world, but you know, maybe life does evolve here in its own way, obviously different to Earth. Obviously, it doesn't have to be life as we know it, like on Earth. This could simulate its own life. It's got water, it's got a surface, it's at -7, you know, cold, but you know, it's not the end. You know, it's the hottest points go to 50 degrees. You know, it's got some variety in temperatures. It's obviously got some very cold areas as well, but you know, it's there. You know, it's got decent patches of ocean, got decent land. So maybe it's a world it could be. I mean, if I put the vegetation on, maybe it would be. Yeah, there you go. All you need to do is simply click one button and Sedna's texture's looking pretty fancy. So in the future, maybe the planet would look like this, but for now, it's going to stay like that. There you go. So that is the closest to Earth-like you'll get in this system. Next jump out, we got tick assist here. So this one is a very heavy greenhouse effect, 301 degrees. I'm not even going to modify it. It's perfectly the way I want it. So city lights off though. So this is probably the closest to Venus you'll get in the system. So although further from the star, it's just not where you want to be. Very, very hot there. No modifications required. So there you go. Put it in a nice yellow. And now I'm going to call... Actually, I need to make a save as well. Very important, make a save. So we're going to call it the Sol, obviously, like our star's name. So it's going to be the Sol II system. So Sol 2. There you go. So that's the next planet, or the next system that's formed from our own solar system. So pretty cool. So in the far future, we know we're past the year 12 billion here. So there we are. That does it for the... I guess that's our sort of inner solar system sort of... Well, we're still working on the inners, maybe. I mean, where does the inner and outer begin for this system, really? I mean... I don't know, honestly. I mean, Neptune is definitely outer. I mean, maybe the jumps between here. Maybe this is the first of the outer planets, which is, surprise, surprise, it is the dominant gas giant. So, okay. Interesting. So, yeah, that's definitely where the outer solar system would probably lie, is in between these gaps here. But anyways, for now, we're going to leave this system here. We're going to have to definitely come back to this in another episode. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts and feedback on this. Do you like it so far? Is there anything I could have done different or changed? What will the fate of the White Dwarf and Jupiter be? It looks like they've picked up something as well over there. Are they going to leave or are they going to hang around? That'll be for next episode to answer. But in the meantime, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, press that like button. Subscribe for more as well. Like I said at the start of the video, helps on the journey to 30,000 subscribers before the start of February, hopefully. And yeah, guys, with that all said and done, let's see if we can go for the likes on this video. Let's see if we can go for 50 likes on this video, guys. And yeah, that all said and done, make sure you guys all have a great day. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.